Well, thank you, man, and I'm glad that you're okay and you were able to pull out of it. RW,
Going on, Scotty?
what's up, brother?
I would say apathy.
Okay.
Apathetic.
Why you
Wasn't
apathetic?
really enthusiastic about anything today.
Okay.
Today was supposed to be like my day off, but I also wasn't like, I guess I wouldn't say I wasn't let down by anything today. It was kind of just, again, I don't want to say stagnant, but I would say apathetic feeling all day today.
Okay. All right. Appreciate that, RW. Pat,
What up, though?
what's happening, Detroit?
Not much, man. I guess I say I had a good day because I took the day off. So,
Okay.
It's a good day.
Today is a good day, baby. Today is a good day.
I had an interview with another school. It went okay, but I don't think it's going to be a fit for me, but I'm going to keep looking.
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty productive. I pretty much, got some stuff done, Okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right. For those who just joined us, what we're doing is we're saying your one word arrival. What is a word or a phrase is how you're showing up today. Anybody else? Jacob. Talk to us.
Peace. Be honest, man. Today, a little anxious.
Okay.
What you want to do is ask me questions?
No,
It
just
was, but when it comes, I'm in the middle of a transition, scaling up, farming.
okay.
But I recently, a while ago, I got into an accident. It wasn't a hydroplane, but some issues with the car. I wasn't. That ain't even really what caught me. The long wait. They wanted to investigate and see if it was fraud or something. Telling them it's water damage. So they finally figured that out. That cool. But I have multiple job situations going on where I'm trying to scale up this farm, going from 1/4 of an acre. Now I'm about to be dealing with 3 acres of farming. And I'm like, okay, I'm doing good. My dream finally realizing and getting my life back on track. But with the funds that's needed and the limited car, I got, security as a profession. But now my business partner and also, not just business partner, we serious feelings, some form of really trying to take not only this farming to the next level, but a relationship is going to the next level. And I need these funds. And these security contracts is coming. And then I'm a substitute teacher, and I can do that, but I'm not going to get that big load that I normally get from doing my security. And now that I'm looking at, well, I need this $30 an hour. I need, what I used to be accustomed to. And when I mentioned it, now there's doubt that, we finally got to this big 3 acres coming from a 1/4, and we have people lined up to buy already our CSAs. Now I'm kind of looking like I'm not believing in the dream that I put into her to even get her to ride this out with me. And so I kind of, it's anxious because sometimes you don't want to feel like, as a man, you got to make that breadwinner. I have a son outside from a previous relationship, so I have to do that. So it's just not me and her. I got a son I got to look after. I got other little bills and things. But it's like the temptation of doing what I know will bring big money at a guarantee while I have to sit and wait for the plants this spring to come in. The average plant, whether it's lettuce or etc., I'm having to that's just a 25-day, okay, that's a cool something, but the CSA is piling up, and I need this big money now. You know, we just tilled, so that's an expense. We just did this, that's an expense. I need the fertilizer. And it's like, well, if I do leave the substitute teaching and I go back to my career in security, there's no time. I don't get the sunlight that I normally get to work with through the week, and I'm just left with the last 2 weekends. So I've just been stuck in my mind knowing how, although she slipped and said something that she got reserved, and I'm just trying to weigh my options. And it's a bit, the anxiousness is because I'm uncertain if I'm gonna make the right decision. You know, am I being too doubtful? You know, you ask yourself, am I being doubtful, or do I not believe that, you know, substitute teaching and the money that comes with it and things, or am I just looking for this big, quick thing because I'm going with what I know? So moving through those feelings, really looking for that clarity, you know, because I don't want to do anything that'll cripple me, but I also don't want anything that will affect the business. And in return, being in a relationship and it's warped inside of the work that you do together, initiative-based relationship, because y'all basically only together, knowing that it could affect the relationship as well, you know. So the business and the relationship, really trying to balance these things, and, you know, other things as well outside of our relationship with my son and his mother. So today was just one of those where I just kind of had to take a pause and write some things down. But I'm striving to feel better.
That's good, brother.
Striving to feel better.
That's good. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. And you're working through, you know, patience, perseverance, resilience. That's what will get you through the obstacles, and believing in you. Anybody else? I see Milton Jones, third. Would you like to check in?
Yes, peace, brothers. I'm from Chicago. Y'all hear my mic okay?
Yep, we got you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, brother Scott, man. I just got put on to you about a week ago, man. That was me DMing you, responding to the Eastern Standard Time. So
Okay.
I went ahead and stepped out on faith. I figured if you're in ATL, it's 6 o'clock. I didn't want to come in and be the lone man out. But I'll say that one word. I say proud.
Okay.
Finally, came around and I have a level of courage where I can go talk to somebody versus me being on the other side of the table. I mean, always having to be. I'll be 45 in September, and I don't look my age at all. But most people, I still get carded. I go out to restaurants or whatever, unless
You know we don't crack, brother. You know we don't crack. You know we don't crack. Ain't that right, CC?
It's becoming universal. It actually warms my heart to hear it from people who are not of our ethnicity or nationality. They don't say the back word. They say, man, it just don't crack, do it?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's coming from women of different cultures, different, ethnicities or whatever. But yeah, just proud. You know what I mean? It took a lot of notes the last 3 weeks about where to start in terms of therapy. And I'm just like, man, I got up 4 pages worth of little nuggets or like bullet points. And I'm just digging stuff up from 15 years old. I was like, man, he was hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like, how us with brothers sometimes, especially like the first young lady he was kind of like getting serious about. Sometimes we never get over that heartbreak. I'm like, yo, Patty, I was like, man. So, it's just good to go back and find out exactly, how did this start? Who cut you? Who hurt you? And retrace your steps and don't try to do best to open up and, not try to smoke it off or drink it off or any other devices or write it off. I love writing. That's like my first love.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on book number 2 and 3. I got
beautiful.
A lot of, I'm still looking for work at the moment. I'm a pretty smart dude, but it's like the smarter you get, the harder you get. I'd be like, wow, I never thought I would ever be losing a job back to back like this, and you kind of, you get looked at as almost a threat in the workplace. Like, oh, who you think you tough? Who's a smart dude here? You know what I mean? And I had co-workers where I'm like, I've been working longer than you've been alive, honey. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'll be like, hey, what year were you born? He'd be like, 2001. I was like, wait a minute, I got CDs older than you.
That's
I got a background in social work, affordable housing. You know, obviously here in Chicago, you see the madness. I'm safe. You know, I have a lot of family down south, a few in ATL, predominantly Tennessee, where my mother's people is from. My father's younger sister. Her birthday is today, so I'll call in about 2 hours.
Okay.
And, it's been good. It's glad to hear from you, brothers, man. I look forward to participating in another one again. Or is this every Wednesday?
So it's every last Wednesday of a month. So it'll be the last Wednesday. The next one will be the last Wednesday in February. So it's every last Wednesday of the month. All right. But thank you, brother. For anybody else would like to, use their one word, or how are you showing up today? Anybody else? All right. So my next question that I would like to hear from y'all is, what made you decide to attend the check-in? What drove you to say, you know what? I've been seeing this brother plaster the internet for the last month and a half with this thing. I'm going to tune in. So tell me why you're here today. And why do you decide to come here today? Jacob, you off.
To be honest, sometimes you just need to be in that spot. Not saying we all go through the same thing. Sometimes you have to be in that area where there's at least relatability, that everything is open. And sometimes hearing another person's point of view, you can at least take some, as you say, put this G into your mental shit. So, I just had to come through and do that. Sometimes you have to let the things out. You can tell people, but sometimes it's best to at least put it to an area that's designed for that. I don't want to beat somebody up with whatever I'm going through, especially because a lot of times you get talking to conversations and they'll go somewhere and it looks like they're opening the door to that. And then once you kind of go in, kind of walk off like, I don't think that was really the time, and I kind of let that off where I could have probably kept that and reserved that for a place for that. So I feel like this was that.
Appreciate it. JG.
For me, I came on because, I think with social media, people talk all the time about mental health and mental awareness, and it's one thing to see it in words, read about it, because I'm actually in a men's group on Facebook, but to actually have the real-time dialogue and even though it's virtual, the face-to-face interaction, it just makes this makes it more tangible. And it's like, people talk about it all the time, and but it's just having to finally be a part of a group of us, where we have our one-on-one sessions, and it's like, okay, well, now to be able to see it and understand that you're really not going through this alone. We have to put on this armor every day. If it's not for a significant other, it's for somebody. We have to be strong for somebody, and it's just like, damn, to be able to take the armor off and to be able to show some level of vulnerability amongst other men is just like, it's okay. Like, we got it. We understand it. And yeah, it feels safe.
Appreciate it, JG.
Yep.
Pat.
usually I can't really catch you. I've been seeing it for a long time, but on Wednesdays I close Miller, so I don't get home till late. But I wanted to come in and support you. Plus, I miss having people to talk to about things, man. Because Atlanta's so spread out, it's hard to you talk to your boys on the phone and everything. And my crew back in Detroit, we used to get together all the time and like do this. Like we used to, even when we were teenagers, we would go somewhere and bond and get it out. You know what I'm saying? And I still got them, but they're all the way in Detroit. And so I've been wanting to come to this, and I just decided, since I had the day off and I'm not getting home at 8 o'clock at night, and I'm, gonna come in and see what's going on. And I really want to be a part of this. I'm just trying to figure out how I can do that and be in the car at the same time, I guess.
Well, Pope, you gotta understand. This is all. You didn't miss anything. This is once a month. Y'all ain't gonna give me every week because I gotta practice to run. So this is once a month. But I'm glad that you can hang on. CC, I see you off mute. What brought you here tonight?
You saw me, Scott?
Yeah.
Okay. Man, I'll tell y'all something, man. I dropped all my friends about, a year and a half, 2 years ago when I got my sobriety. Been clean from alcohol for almost 2 years now. And been with Scott for almost a year. And man, it's nice having some like-minded people to sit around and talk to, and talk about your day, talk about how this was and that was. Even having somebody with a 1,000-mile view that's unbiased to talk to and see your situation different than other people that are around you all day sees your situation and gonna give you a biased answer. What good is that? What good is the answer from somebody is gonna give you what you want to hear? Somebody to keep you walking straight, that don't see what you do every day, that can take your situation and not put it in the same mindset as everybody else that's around you all day is going to do. I think it's a good thing you're doing this, guys. It's the first meeting like this I've ever been to, and so far, what we've been into it, I've enjoyed it. It's something different than sitting around with a group of guys drinking and talking crap. It might start out well, but it's going to end up not like you wanted it to most of the time. So I like it, man. I think it's a good thing.
Appreciate it. All right. Milton Jones, what drove you to check in?
Yeah. Once again, man, I just think it's always good to get to have some fresh ears. Where you all can lend me your ears, and people can, even though I don't have a picture up here, but it's still like I have outlets with my own friend group. I got a ton of friends, not a ton, but I got a lot of really close, like day ones. I still got good buddies of mine that we known since kindergarten. You know what I'm saying? And I get looked at too often from both friends and family. I get looked at as the little invincible guy. And, I kind of feel like a group, if this is a better metaphor, a group like this is kind of like, I'm trying to think. Oh, here's a better one. It's kind of like this is All-Star Game weekend. And it's that February. Oh, yeah, it's that February. It's coming up next week. Next month. But I'm little old AI on the Sixers. I got the Sixers on my back, and I got to deliver. But for that one weekend, all of us dope players from all across the league or across the different across the country, we get together and we celebrate each other because we know how equally dope we are. And I'm biased. I don't know if there's anybody I know. My brother Pat. You said you're from Detroit, right? Yeah, we got our biases. This gonna be the one weekend that it's Isaiah or Michael off the backboard, but back during playoff times is on, man.
I got you.
One of my greatest childhood memories was when we finally swept y'all in 4 games in 1991.
Who's y'all?
quick.
The Pistons. We're talking about the Pistons.
Okay. Oh, I forgot Chicago and Detroit. Okay, I see it there. I see it
We
there.
had love for Dominique. Dominique should have won dunk contest in '88, but
Hey, we not no revisionist history here. But thanks, brother.
Shut up.
No, I got you. Sarge,
Yes, sir.
why did you decide to join the check-in today?
I need to be more consistent with our interactions and whatnot. And I do appreciate what you do for, just people in general. You know what I'm saying? When you talk about, people talk about, heroes of the community, they think of police officers, firemen, governor, things of that nature. Probably not governors as of recently, but you get what I'm saying.
I got you.
And I don't think enough people talk about the unsung heroes. You know what I'm saying? Like the corner store, the corner stores that, let people get away with certain things that they normally shouldn't because of situations and predicaments that they're in, or therapists and psychologists that help them out. It's them little things that, inadvertently end up bonding a community more tightly together than, let's say, the macrocosm of the performative acts that we see in politicking nowadays. You know what I'm saying? A whole bunch of talking and not enough doing, or a whole bunch of words that don't mean anything. Everybody just talking in circles. So what you're doing with not only shining light on, men's mental health, but establishing a community where men know that it's okay, like how a brother said earlier, to kind of let that armor down. You know what I'm saying? It's been ingrained in us for so long, so many generations, to keep that armor up, and that armor ends up degrading our physical health, our emotional health, our mental health, to the point where we die years before we're supposed to because of the cortisol levels just flooding our brains and just weakening our immune systems, weakening our structure, and the families really end up feeling that pain, so you're kind of undoing, or you're challenging the notion or the idea of all of these, ingrained concepts that has been taken away more than it's been providing. You know what I'm saying? And I'm grateful that you put this out, and that we can be a part of this together,
Absolutely, Sarge. And Sarge is representing, he is our representation. He's serving in the United States Army. So we always thank you for your sacrifice and your service, bro. All right. So I want to get everyone involved. So here's the question. What's been taking up the most space in your mind lately? What has been taking up the most space in your mind lately? Now, I'm trying to call on, if you don't want to share, I got it, but, if you do want to share, I'd like to hear from you. You don't have to turn your camera on, but if you do want to share, if you do want to answer the question, please unmute your mics. So the question is, to the group, what's been taking up most of the space in your mind lately? And I'll start off. What's been really taking space in my mind is generational wealth. As my man, I think it was my man Milton said about black don't crack. I'm 61 years old, be 62 years old, and God willing in August. So I'm a proponent about that black don't crack. And, that's not racism, that's facts. That's facts. But, I am so focused on building a generational legacy, and I'm so focused on bringing men together so that we can, want to expand my practice. I've been in practice for 6 years now, and a lot of you I've seen on the other side of these Zoom calls where it's just you and I. So I thank you all who have either been a client or still a client that you came to support me. So that's what has been it. It's just most of my space in my mind lately has just been about, creating a legacy to leave to my children. All right. Anybody else want to share?
Yeah, I'm gonna take this one, Scott.
All right. What's up, cuz?
Hey, what's up, cuz? I tried to get in the other ones and I didn't take the mute off in time, but it's all good. One of the things that's been in my mind a lot is aging as a man, okay? Because you probably still don't even know how old I am, cuz, okay? But we, things change in men as you get older. You can't do the things that you used to do. The things that you want to do, it's in your head, but your body won't let you do it, and then you start to, I guess, compensate your own way, in your own way, to do something to get by, and the reality in it is, if we're being allowed to grow old, we got to take it as wisdom and begin to share. We can't look at it as, hey, I can't do the things I used to do, but I can do something else though and still, help. I can still be effective doing something different. But it's been in my head a lot because there are things, and we had a snowstorm up in the Northeast this week, and shoveling snow was no joke this week compared to what we used to do. If you understand what I mean, so physically we're not able to do the things that we used to do. So it stays in my head a lot, about how we're gonna be able to provide and be that, that rock in our family. You know what I'm saying? If you're not able physically to do certain things.
Thanks, cousin. I want to take the time, just a couple of seconds. Yesterday I had a major loss. One of my childhood friends, I've known him since I was 9 years old. We grew up in the Bronx together, and he was actually doing a family investment group, and he wanted to come in. He was on my last Zoom call that I had as a group. And yesterday morning, he went to the VA hospital, was trying to keep up on himself, and went to the restroom complaining of nausea and never came out.
Oh, man.
62 years old. So
Wow.
the brevity and the importance of life, fellas, taking care of your health, both mental and physical, is important, So to Leslie, man, we're going to keep up the good fight. He's a solid brother, a great friend, and you will be missed. So I just wanted to shout out my brother. All right. We're talking about what's been taking up the most space in your mind lately. Who else wants to share? Please, 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 please. Pat, I see you got... Go ahead, JG.
Probably making sure or knowing that and this pertains to work, knowing that I'm putting my best foot forward every day, because it's a struggle. It's not even so much a struggle of like getting up, going to work, but it's kind of that tug I used to have about being good enough, like when I was married, being a good enough husband to my now ex-wife. But now it's like, am I good enough as my student's teacher? And that has come up because we just did our mid-year testing last week. Since we came back from the winter break, and some of the scores that I anticipated weren't as good as I thought. Now I do my best to take it with a grain of salt, and knowing that I have to trust myself enough that I have been doing enough, and it's up to them, even though they're 5 and 6 years old. And so it's kind of been a back and forth this week, looking at their test scores and talking about the data, and but I've gotten that reassurance from my teammates and even my administrators, like, you're doing a good job, like, but it's like,
Got you.
Really, but it's like, I know that I am, and it's just sometimes certain things you feel like reflected. Some things don't, but the thing that I know that I have to do, I gotta get up tomorrow and I gotta do it all over again. So it's just like that's what keeps me going. Just doing my best to make the next day better than the last. So
Appreciate it, JG. All right, all the way from Mobile, Alabama, my brother, Levan. What brought you in, and what made you want to check in today, brother?
Well, I thought, Brother Law, I thought this was a great thing, man, to join in with you, and this is really important. But first of all, the most important thing in my life is trying to help someone that's less fortunate, and because I got a lot of time on my hand, and I got some brothers that with me in the church, and they want to try to do some things like going boating, but just communing with others. Like you say, you're 61 years old and you're going on 62. Well, I'm going on 61, and I can't find nothing else better to do than to help someone else out. My children, they all grown. You know, I lost my daughter about 2 years ago, and that was a big hard pill to swallow. But I still have a son out there, and trying to set an example for him. But that's really the most thing, you know, that really taking up space in my life is trying to help somebody else, and I think that's the most thing that I want to do.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate that. All right, Rue, you got your hand raised? Go ahead, Rue.
I've been mulling over the question you had proposed to me when last we spoke about who am I outside of what I can provide. And that led me to a chain of questions I've been asking myself. And it led to kind of a revelation today that I don't know how to enjoy life outside of achievement. I don't know how to enjoy life outside of providing something to the people that I care about, which is how I ended up inadvertently validating my existence in a way. So what's been preoccupying my time is kind of like shedding those layers and getting down to the root of it all. I even thought about the things I used to enjoy when I was younger, you know, and even then the thought of those don't kind of fill me with that sense of life or glee that it used to, you know what I'm saying? So now that I am where I am right now in life, with all the constant pursuit of achievement or bettering myself in some kind of capacity, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, I found out that without understanding how to have fun, I also don't quite understand what love means to me, right? Because when you're talking about love, when you talk about fun, that to me is very synonymous with love, because you're loving the moment, you're loving the experience of what you're having right now, which is what produces that fun for you, you know? So I realized, at least for me, I don't know about the other brothers in here, but at least for me, it's almost like a twofold question. How do I achieve that childlike sense of fun in my present day without the performance of achievements or doing for others that I care about, while also simultaneously trying to understand what the concept of love means for me, and how do I express that for myself so that I can then embody that and express that more profoundly and more purely for others.
Hank Rue, always deep, my brother, always deep. KJ, you had your hand up. What brought you to today's check-in, brother?
So, one, kind of lately been going through like just in my mind lately, just mentally thinking. So I when I seen this, it was kind of like, yeah, I need to see what somebody talking about. And I heard somebody mention earlier that it's kind of good for you to kind of hear from other people's sides, and that way you're not in your head thinking like, oh, I'm going crazy and stuff like that, because everybody else has different stuff that they go through and dealing with. So it's kind of good to hear that you're not the only one that's dealing with those problems, and that's what brought me here. And then to the answer to your second question that you recently asked is lately something that's been on my mind is growth and development. Just trying to grow as a man, grow as a better person. That I had Nolan. I got a son, and I'm soon to be married on February 14th. So that's another big stepping stone for me too. So it's me just looking at myself and judging myself as a person as I get older. A lot of people like to say, you almost 30, you getting older and stuff like that. And at first, I was looking at it like, I'm young, I'm still in my 20s with it. Mm-hmm. As I'm thinking, as I wake up every day, I'm sitting there like, dang, I'm almost 30. So it's kind of hitting me, and as I'm getting married, that's really hitting me too. And as a man, there's so many expectations for us. Like I heard somebody say that you don't really get to take the shield off. You have to play that role pretty much the rest of your whole life. And so taking that shield off is like a weight. When you do get to drop the shield down, it's like a weight off your shoulders and stuff like that. Another thing is I don't feel as accomplished with my life. And I'm not saying that I feel bad or I'm going through mental things. It's just when I set goals for myself, and when I complete those goals, it's like the last person just said. You don't really get excited. It's like no room for excitement. Like, yeah, I may get an excitement, for a few seconds, but then it's like, oh, it's back to regular program. It's like you don't get to really, hold on to that excitement or accomplishment. So it's like I done came up here. My fiance, she graduated college from South Alabama, and the next day we moved to Birmingham, and I got up here. I didn't have a job. I found a job. Started off at temp service. $16. I noticed TMI, but I'm letting y'all know. Started off at $16, and then a year later, ended up getting hired on with the airport, and now I'm all the way at $25 supervisor lead position. But at the end of the day, I still don't feel accomplished. So it's another thing it's just one big thing that's on my mind. It's just, I don't know. It's like a puzzle that's missing. I'm missing that key, like just happiness. Not even saying I'm not happy. It's just I don't get to hold on to that happiness.
Well, thank you. And it's my people are showing up. So I'm like, yo, I gotta go to a wedding on February 14th. It's the same wedding. It's the same wedding. Thank you for sharing, KJ. Thank you for sharing. Mr. Jones, you had your hand up?
Yes, sir. Peace. Also, congrats, KJ, man. Congratulations on everything, man. You're gonna be there, man. You're gonna get there, man. It's just you're just going through your hero's journey. You know what I'm saying? This is even with my clients. When I was doing social work, working with different populations. Disability community. I did the veterans program, the homeless veterans program. I did that for a number of years here in in Chicago. And one thing I think we always, sometimes when we give advice to people, we need to take our own advice, and that's almost it's kind of crazy sometimes. It's like I would even recommend sometimes get one of those little foldable mirrors and sit it on your living room table and talk to that person. And, I ain't saying you got to go as far as fix that person to play. I mean, that's when you got to call Dr. Gordon, because you fixing the playlist. But yeah, I always I get that advice. I say, hey, you know what? Like for all of us, I don't know you all personally, but I always treat things like a sequel to the movie. And this is just whatever you're going through. This is Milton Part 2. Like this Milton Part 7, or this is Craig Part 6, or this is Paul or KJ, the remix. Like one thing is when you go see these movies, the superhero movies, the superhero gonna win in the end. It's gonna happen. But you go there to see the process, the middle. That's what makes the middle right there. You know what I'm saying? So with that said, one thing that's occupying my mind the most is gratitude. Like, I gotta stay consistent with my gratitude and just look at every day I wake up, I'll be like, all right, cool, I'm unemployed, I'm battling my ex-employer to give me my cash. I've been battling them for a whole year. My last employer, I will say, I had 3 positions in less than 3 years, and I was at the Radisson Aqua Hotel in downtown Chicago. I was PBX operator, and they moved me to the front desk. It was like, I guess you're good at that, and then they moved me over to concierge. I had a lot of connections in the restaurant business. I'm a dude, I like to, just the self-care, I like to go, meditate and go to different different restaurants, bars, sit there and go dolo, especially if you're a single guy and you get your hair cut and iron your clothes, you're going to see something, especially in Chicago Loop. You will win. So, I know you're married, you're about to get married, KJ. Don't come to Chicago. Don't do it. But yeah, gratitude and getting feedback from family and friends about what do you see when you see me. You know what I mean? Just don't come by the crib and be like, man, your crib decked out. I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to be greedy, but I want to get this fixed. I've been in my grandparents' house. I kind of inherited since 2007 when my grandfather passed October 2007. So he kind of, Milton Sr. actually. My grandfather's name Milton. My father's Milton Jr. I'm Milton III, obviously. And my son will be Milton IV. Not that I'm working on one right now, but when that day comes.
You might be practicing.
Oh, yeah. Hey, we talk about practice, right? Like, yeah. But, yeah, man, it's just get that gratitude activated. Go treat yourself. Go out dolo. Go sit. I do a lot of writing. I bring a little index card, one of the little mini spirals. I can sit at the bar or whatever. And when you're fresh and clean, you look all right. You're 44 and you're still looking 26. Ladies will come up to you. I just sit. I don't chase. I just attract. You know what I'm saying? I just attract. And, you'd be surprised that when you're out and about, you meet different people. You have so many commonalities and so many different, similar tastes. And you'd be shocked. It's almost a blessing when you find out how many different degrees of separation you are from that new stranger. Not new stranger, but that stranger that you just met. Or this person saw you over here. I think you look familiar. That's a little icebreaker, with some ladies. Or other people be like, yo, Milk, what's up? Thanks for coming back in or whatever. Yo, have a seat, yo. Hey, I got you. Just stay right here. I'm going to move somebody for you. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to move this people over there. I got a table. So I got good credit, but it's still, they don't know little of me. I can't save everybody. But, that's why that gratitude kick in. I got to, buy yourself something nice sometimes. Even just want to go on Etsy or eBay, just get something. Be that. I forgot which brother just mentioned. Getting back in your childhood, tapping into that inner child. You know what I mean? Seriously, go to the toy store. You know what I mean? Buy some puzzle. Buy some Voltron. I got a remote control BMW X6. You know what I'm saying? Got it in the crib. You know what I'm saying? You got to do something. I dug out my old Casio keyboard from 1994. Put some batteries, and I got back to playing music again. I want to do that. Gratitude, you know what I mean? Not to cut. I'm gonna go ahead and shut up and get to the next some other brothers. But I'll tell you what I did buy a couple of days ago that made me happy. I had me a nice little refrigerator magnet, right? I guess that's my new thing now. Got me a Lisa Bonet refrigerator magnet. When she was on front of Jet magazine in 1987. So
I remember the cover, baby. I remember the cover.
That's gonna brighten my day next to my I got a Derrick Rose magnet coming, and I got a Iverson magnet coming in the mail too. It says it's the Iverson logo, but it's the Iverson logo, but it says we talking about practice. So that's what on my magnet. You know, what I mean, hopefully that could be my avatar, my Abby next time we had this meeting.
Cool. All right. I know we're coming up on the hour, so I do want to get everybody in. Scotty Smart, what made you decide to check in today?
Oh, okay, trying to get on mute, my bad. I was struggling right there. How y'all doing, fellas?
What's happening, son?
For one, I am the son of the guy that does this thing. So when he talks about legacy, is my legacy. But also, I'm a huge advocate for mental health. I've been a mental health patient. I've been institutionalized. I've been through a lot of grief, a lot of tragedy, and I've been through a lot of emotions that most men haven't experienced vulnerability to express it within themselves. And so I came onto this, for one, just to tune in to see how my dad's turnout was going, because I kind of be checking on his marketing, his promotions, and stuff like that on the business side of things. You got a great turnout there, sir. But also just to share my experience. And like one thing I was just listening, it's like, you know, as men, I'm 38 now, and I'm coming into my own space, and I've been in that space of feeling incomplete and having to move in back in my mom in my early 30s and not being able to enjoy my wins. And I challenge some of the fellas I was listening to define what your wins are, first of all. Don't allow someone to define the win for you. Because when you're searching for a win that someone else has to validate, then you're not really necessarily happy internally, right? And so my journey through grief and activism and politics, for those that don't know, I work extremely close as a political strategist in the state of Georgia. So with everything going on in the country right now, when you talk about what's on my mind right now, it's everything in one. But personally, I really have gotten to the point where I'm achieving my wildest dreams, and but I don't want to get complacent. I don't have imposter syndrome because I work my ass off. When I worked 12 years to get to this damn position, so I don't have the imposter syndrome. Like I know I deserve it, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I demand a certain level of greatness from myself. And so now that I've reached that one pillar of grace and celebrated my wins, like I said, now I'm just trying to develop even more efficient methods of work and structure and building legacy and building opportunities for others. I think coming from a struggle, the biggest thing you have to do is be able to push that ladder back down and lift someone else back up. And so for me, it's not about myself anymore. It's about how do I build infrastructure. And so like right now with my job, I'm the director of community engagement and programming for an organization that works in Atlanta Public Schools, which is the school system in which I grew up in. So it's like I can give back and get paid at the same time. So why I came tonight was just to be a part of the circle, but also to be an advocate, to let you know that it's okay to embrace the pain. It's okay to not feel normal. It's okay, but the biggest thing about mental health is being honest with yourself, and being able to be vulnerable with yourself, being able to cry when you need to. You know, I've lost a lot of friends, and one of the things that I suffer with the most on this journey is friendships. Because now that I've engaged at a certain level of success, everybody wants to be my friend. But I've also lost a lot of friends on the journey. Then I've also lost a lot of fuck niggas on the journey too. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, damn, like, who the fuck? I keep losing people I'm thinking supposed to be here with me. These niggas is some corny ass niggas. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, damn, when you get to a certain level of success, you know, you start seeing yourself elevating and separating from it. It's like, but I'm a team player, so I don't want to be separated from everybody else. But sometimes God is showing me that people can't go, and that part of the journey is I'm comfortable, and because I'm such a team player that I would love for everybody to go, but I have to also be under understanding of my friends, and most of my friends don't even understand politics. So 90% of the time, I can't even engage in an intellectual conversation with what I do for work around hood niggas. you know? And so I had to become I've always been a loner in a sense, but I've always had little pockets in which I can be comfortable in and have friendships. And so I feel like throughout my grief process, I lost about 3 or 4 friends, super, super close friends. And then I also struggle with losing friends that are alive, that I don't fuck with no more, but also having this level of success where everyone wants to be your friend. So then you're trying to figure out what's what the fuck you want? What you here for? Because I know you want something. What do you want? You know, but also as a community organizer, trying to be inviting and balancing all those emotions of I have to invite you into the community to be to learn how to move and engage you politically about your social justice issues. And so for me, it's just about being a resource and being a tool to the community and continue to grow with this family. And I'm just excited to see where we can go from here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right, my man Jacob, we're at the hour, but I want you to be, why did you decide to come to this check-in, brother? Did he go? Oh, there we go. No?
Okay, back at it. Oh yeah, that was the first question. I was thinking about that number 3. Well, I will go back to that. But yeah, I had just to double back. If it's cool, I can go into the 3 before we get it with what's on your mind. But yeah, again, sometimes you don't have these spaces to kind of let it out, and sometimes conversations do open up, and it feel like that's the one. It looks like a door is open, and when you hop up in there, it's like, I don't think that was the one, and sometimes you just have so much that you don't want to put it into a space to where it may all fall out. You know what I mean? You don't want to put that type of feeling on those that are not really there for it. So yeah, relatability, get a part of a circle of people who have, not the same thing, but again, a safe space. I think this is verbatim, but like you always say in the video, the positive jam into your mental health check. So definitely had to do that. What's been on my mind? What the most thing taking space in your mind, and it's been time, valuing it, managing it, trying not to waste it, really, really appreciate it so that it's more and more, appreciated in both terms. I think I've been in survival mode so much that finally getting to this point in my age, having to accept certain things that I wish were different that are not, and growing up with a lot of brothers, but really finding myself by myself, you know what I mean? And going through a lot of, I think a lot of trauma and grief that I never dealt with. It puts you in a survival mode. So finally getting here to where that one thing that I loved all my life, when it comes to agriculture, and I finally get here, and it's like, I'm certified this, I'm a part of this Master Gardener Association, I'm a part of the local Master Gardener, I'm a part of the Native Plant Society, and coming back to my hometown is like a weird feeling. I got unresolved things here, and in the back of my head, I'm like, damn, I'm right here. I don't want to end up like my uncle, like when he finally got out of jail and his life got better. I mean, like somebody who was once close to him, took him out. So it's kind of like and it's crazy. Being a security guard, I did security in all different types of fields, and even was in the middle of a shootout in Fort Valley in an apartment complex, and it didn't hit me then. Like that was nothing. I guess like the life I came from kind of made me like that's nothing. But finally, when I get to this point where it's like, ooh, I finally found that thing. And it was right here, all in front of me, this whole time. And I'm finally here. I'm trying to rush the time. I'm trying to make sure that I have something or I'm doing something that when if I happen to go, they can say, well, he was trying. You know what I mean? Like, this is what he was doing. And, you know, at least on something that my son could be like, yeah, and he's sports. So when he was out there with me while I was, harvesting turnips and collards and beets and stuff, that, I kind of cried a little bit when he was out there helping me. But right now it's really time. I don't want to waste it, man. I really want it so I could use it for everything that it's worth. And I just be pissed, like if I go and whatever I'm doing, it's not at least to that standard that I'm at least striving. Yeah, that's what's been really every day, man. Trying to really appreciate time, really show that I care, that I'm real thankful for this life right now.
Appreciative, man. And I think that's the tone of grateful. Well, brothers, I'm grateful for you, man. I didn't know what to expect. My wife said, "What if you only have one person on the Zoom call?" And I said, "Yo, that's the one person I'm rocking with." So, I thank each and every one of y'all for taking the time out of your busy schedule and showing up honestly. Whether you shared or not, you just showed up, and your presence means a lot. Before we sign off, I want you to take a moment and see how you feeling. Are you a little lighter than when you came in here? Sometimes we come in with a little heaviness, and this is an opportunity to put that weight down for a minute. I know we got to pick it back up. As men. But sometimes we got to be able to put it down and say, "Yo, I got you, bro. I got you. I got you." I want you to remember this space is about awareness and connection. If anything came up today that feels heavy, I encourage you to reach out for additional support. If not me, then whoever you need, because this work is sacred. And that's why I chose to do this. My challenge to you is follow my daily mental health gems. I try to give back, some free game, as much as I can, because it helps. And I strive to be that voice of mental health for our communities, for our people, So with that, I want to thank you again for coming out. And I don't know when the Wednesday, what date it is. It'll be up, on the flyers. I think it's the last Thursday would be in February is 26. All right, so the next, and I think I got to put Eastern Standard Time, because I'm sure that there's some brothers in other time zones like 7 o'clock. Well, 7 o'clock is it, so I have to put Eastern Standard Time. But, thank you, brothers. This means the world to me and everyone else, and I hope that you will bring a friend. I'm challenging you to bring someone, and pass this on. I will be, releasing some clips and some snippets of what we've covered today, man. But I'm really humbled. I'm appreciative, and I'm honored to have y'all here. And I'll see you next month.
All right.
Thanks, Scott.
Peace
All right.
out, bro.
All right.
Peace.
All right.
Not bad, huh? For the first one, not bad.